Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new, my name is Stephen and this is James Glen Car Sales. On the channel we do a walk around video of each car that comes into stock. Today it's that bad boy 911 behind me, and we also do car reviews as well. If you haven't already, please subscribe, that way you'll not miss any more stock updates or any more up and coming road tests. And this video is sponsored by WeWon'tBuyAnyCar.com, which is actually our in-house car buying service. If you'd like a valuation for your sports or prestige vehicle, we'd love to hear from you, and you can start your valuation today by just clicking the little tab up here, WeWon'tBuyAnyCar.com. So I'm sure you're dying for me to move out the way and for us to get chatting about this rather unique 996 turbo. So without further ado, let's get started. This is Kloss. Even has his own name on the deck lid. Now guys, I will try and keep this video to the regular sort of 10 minutes. That being said, there is so much to talk about with this car, not so much, well, including the spec, but how we came to find the car in the first place. So initially it was a 996 Turbo S automatic. It was then converted to a manual, and then it was converted to a manual rear wheel drive. It now produces 600 brake horsepower. It has got an absolutely enormous specification, and if you'd like to go and read the full spec, because no doubt I will probably forget half of it, you can click the link which is in the description just below the video. It's all listed there, it's all accurate. Over the course of the video I'll give you a little rundown on what we've done to the car, what it's like to drive, and what its condition's like. Bear in mind, this car has been a track car since 2004 in fact. So there are a couple of positives. One, obviously you get this insane spec, but also it's not seen any winters over the last 20 years or so, which means that it has no rust. Now if you are familiar with 996s, you will be aware that they have started to rust, especially if they're a UK car, and the first sign is round about the rear wheel arches, and obviously all the underside as well. A friend of mine owns Koss Automotive in Bowness, Matt and Diane, and they are currently restoring 996 and 997s frequently, and if they haven't been caught, then they can actually need welding in certain areas, whereas this car, as I mentioned, because it was a track car, it's not seen any harsh winters. That being said, it's obviously led a rather exciting life. Being a track car, the estimated build cost of this thing is in the area of £100,000. Yes, you couldn't buy this and build it if that was your budget. So just to give you a rough overview of the current specification, but as I said guys, if you are interested in finding out exactly what it has, it is all fully and accurately listed on the website. So we'll start at the front and work our way back really. So it has a Tech-Art front bumper with the carbon fibre inserts. It has a carbon fibre bonnet. It also has a gearbox cooler, which is mounted obviously at the front. We've got the magnesium wheels, which are exceptionally light, and I have to say, of an incredible fitment, albeit that's rather down the pecking order as far as importance goes on a track car. But do you not think that the byproduct of a track car and how a track car handles is it ends up looking really cool, because you've got all this camber and you've got this really meaty fitment as well. So behind those lovely magnesium wheels we have a set of floating discs, 360mm all round, GT3 front calipers, because if anyone has ever had any experience with the standard braking system on a 996 Turbo, it is absolutely tragic. You've got a little four piston caliper on the front, and it's like 330mm discs. So very under-braked car for what was a 190 miles an hour car. Floating discs on the back as well as the calipers from the rear of a GT3. Tyre wise, we've got Michelin Pilot Sport 2s. The reason we couldn't get anything fruitier was you're limited on an 18-inch wheel now, and that's a 315 30/18, so he's a rather fat boy on the back. I have had the pleasure of piloting this car round Anglesey in the dry and Knockhill in the wet. Anglesey was an absolute hoot. It drove there and it drove back in air-conditioned luxury, albeit I wouldn't exactly, depending on what you class as luxury, but it certainly done the job. While we were on Anglesey, we've done an outstanding job of keeping up with a brand new 992 GT3, and if you'd like to see that video, there will be a link to that at the end, which was courtesy of the 992 owner. Came over to me and spoke to me in the pits, and they asked me for my email address and shared the V-Box footage, which was awful kind of him, and that just gives you some idea of just how quick this car is. I am by no means an expert behind the wheel. The car tells you so much about what's going on. You can really take this car very, very close to the limit, and it's not as scary as you would think. Looking round the rear, obviously what dominates the back end of this car is this colossal wing, carbon fibre. The actual measurements of the wing are on the description, and it's got this little gurney flap that runs along the leading edge. There's also another video of this car on my channel when I take it around Knockhill in the rain, and the spray, I am not exaggerating guys, the spray from the back must have been 25-30 feet. So there's definitely something going on. This is not just for show. The rear deck lid is GRP, and the rear windscreen is Lexan, which we have had replaced, and we bought the Lexan glass from the guys at Motorsport Plastics. It was made to order. Obviously they don't keep all these things in stock because the rear glass had gone opaque and you literally could hardly see out it. It's got a custom exhaust, but it does retain 200 cell cats. It's also got equal length exhaust manifolds, and it has a set of zero clearance precision hybrid turbochargers. In fact, let's just get the deck lid open, have a wee nose. But if the 911 guys watching this video will be like, yeah great Stephen, what exactly are you going to show us, because there's not really much to see. So first of all, we've got a modified airbox and a similar spec to the rough airbox, I am led to believe. So we've got an intake down here as well as the factory one. Lots and lots of air coming in because this is all just open now. We've got an IPD plenum which is buried in by that charge pipe just in here. And a little fun fact, this car was used as the Samco hose test mule back in the day, so that's probably the first ever set of Samco hoses. Internally the engine has GT3 high lift camshafts. If you want a fright, go and price 4 of those now, they are thousands of pounds. What else? GT 997, absolutely love this, I love it. 997 GT2 intercoolers. Sorry guys, let me just get rid of that. What else? I think that's about us really. The car runs standard management. It is around about 600 brake horsepower, albeit sitting in the car it feels like much more, but that's just your typical Porsche power delivery. The torque is colossal. There is not that much turbo lag either. Very, very responsive, and it revs to 7,500 RPM as opposed to the standard car's 6.5, and that will be down to the cam profile of the GT3 camshafts. The engine work was all carried out by Fernsport down in Silverstone, who also rebuilt the engine in my GT3 and regarded as quite possibly the best Metzger engine builder in the UK. We fitted the Recaro poles. It did have a set of Sparco or Corbeaus, I can't remember. The driver's was a halo seat and it was just an awful thing on the road. The main function, or the main reason for us, buying this car was to make it back into a car that can be driven to the track and back again, hence why we recommissioned the air conditioning ditched the big halo seat because it was literally the worst blind spot you have ever seen. So now you've got a car that can be driven to and from the track without the need of a car trailer. It did have carbon fibre doors, but we took them off and refitted the steel doors. Because again, you know, a car that's driven to and from the track, we don't want it to be a pure noisy, rattly mess. These are Cup car wing mirrors, which are exceptionally rare. Can't buy these anymore. And it also has a carbon fibre roof. This isn't a skin, this is an actual roof panel. So the original sunroof, the original roof panel had a sunroof in it. So that's certainly one way to delete a sunroof and just replace it with a nice big bit of carbon fibre. Cup shifter cables, we have carried out a full gearbox rebuild. It also has an RSR diff, steel synchros, and we fitted a brand new Sachs 800 Newton metre clutch in there as well. It's on Moton suspension, lots of Tarot goodies as well, and also has Cup car Cup car, what's he called again? Doing so well there. Cup car ducting for the front brakes, which is also, if I can show you, in the front bumper. Let's have a look. Can we see? Yeah. So in here, that is in behind this mesh, there is a proper Cup car moulding, and that's the intake for the brake ducting. And as you can see, it's pretty low, so it's got a little bit of sacrificial damage down here. Personally, I don't really like the front bumper. If I was keeping the car, which I'd love to, I'd put a 996 GT2 front bumper on it, although they are rather expensive. Without shadow of doubt, the most exciting car I have ever had the pleasure of driving, and that is on the road and on the car. The only thing that's ever come close is a 599, but I was always terrified it was going to break. Now, the bit you've probably all been waiting on, what does it sound like? Let's dip the clutch. Clutch pedal is actually very, very decent to hold. There's not a lot of, it's not as heavy. Put it this way, the clutch in my 997 GT3 is heavier than this. The clutch helper is obviously gone to save a bit of weight. So it is just all you and the clutch, but it's lighter than you would expect, and the uptake in the drive is pretty smooth as well. You can just hear the turbos beginning to whistle there as we're lifting up off idle. Sounds like no other 911 I've ever heard, and that includes a friend of mine who has a 996 GT2. So Matt, if you're watching, you need to get one of these exhausts. I do not think that you can go faster in a Porsche for the money. I really, really don't. In fact, I think you would struggle to go faster for the money. Period. I shall ask Lee if he can give a wee hand with the revs. Lee, could you be so kind as to give the turbo a little rev for me? This is a gentleman who's just detailed it all for us. Say hi, Lee. Head of prep. Most extreme 996 turbo, I'm going to say, in the UK, and it's road legal. What more could you possibly want? As you can tell, guys, I'm rather enthusiastic about it, and it is an awful shame that I can't keep it. One too many cars at the moment. So hopefully, oops. So that brings us to the end of the video. I hope it didn't drone on too much. As you can appreciate, there is a load to talk about with this car. If you are interested, or if you just want to see more about the car, I would urge you to go and look at the James Glen playlist that we have just for this car, and it's named Track to Road. A wee play on words, it's back to road, because it used to be a track car exclusively for, as I mentioned, like 20 years. So it's cool on the road, it really, really is. And even driving it at 6/10, it is such a thrill. Using all of it on the road, yeah, that's when it starts getting interesting. It really, really is a ground up track car. And whoever is lucky enough to secure it as their own track car, it will blow you away. It really, really will. Anyway, tear in the eye. Look up the playlist, see all the restoration, recovery videos. There's also as I mentioned, the track day video on there as well, so you can see it in full action. And if you've got any questions, get in touch. There'll be a link to the website in the description below. Any questions that you want to just drop in the comments, I'll always reply. Video up here, just one of Kloss's many videos, and a button here to subscribe. Hope to see you in the next video. Thanks, bye bye.